Your childhood felt longer because everything was new. The walk to school felt huge. Summer felt endless. A single year could feel like an entire lifetime. Your bedroom felt like a world. Your street felt like a map. Your first friend, your first fear, your first favorite song, your first time staying up late, your first time being trusted with something small. Everything had weight. Everything left a mark. Then you got older, and somehow, a year started disappearing like a week. Monday became Friday. January became July. Your birthday came back before you were ready for it, and you started saying the sentence every adult eventually says. Time is going too fast. But the strange part is this. Time may not actually be moving faster. Your brain may just be storing less of it. That is the part nobody wants to hear. Because when people say time is flying, they are not only talking about clocks. They are talking about memory. They are talking about attention. They are talking about the scary feeling that life is still happening, but fewer moments are staying with them. When you were a child, almost everything was a first time. The first time you saw the ocean. The first time you got lost in a store. The first time you heard a song that felt like it belonged to you. The first time you slept at someone else's house. The first time you realized adults could be wrong. The first time you understood that tomorrow was not just a word, but a real place your life was moving toward. Childhood is full of firsts, and firsts are heavy. They force the brain to pay attention. They create rich memories because the brain has to build a new map. Where am I? What is this? Is this safe? Do I like it? Will it happen again? The brain is awake because the world is still unfamiliar. That unfamiliarity makes time feel bigger. Not because the day is longer, because the day contains more information. This is one of the reasons childhood feels so stretched out when you look back. Your memory is not a perfect recording of your life. It is more like a highlight system. It saves what feels new, emotional, surprising, dangerous, meaningful, confusing, beautiful, or important. And childhood gives the brain a lot to save. New faces, new places, new rules, new fears, new questions, new versions of yourself. So when you look back at childhood, the memory field is crowded. It has texture. It has scenes. It has rooms you can still picture. It has smells you can almost remember. It has random afternoons that somehow stayed in your mind for no clear reason. That density makes the past feel large. But adulthood often becomes the opposite. You wake up in the same room. You check the same phone. You drive the same roads. You answer the same messages. You eat the same meals. You open the same apps. You worry about the same things. You go to sleep, wake up, and repeat the loop. The days may be busy, but busy is not the same as memorable. That is one of the cruel tricks of adulthood. You can be exhausted and still feel like nothing happened. You can work all day and still struggle to remember what made the day different from the day before. Your body was active. Your calendar was full. Your brain was occupied. But memory did not save much because most of it was familiar. The brain loves efficiency. If it has seen something 1,000 times, it does not waste energy recording every detail again. It compresses. It says, I know this road. I know this room. I know this routine. I know this type of meeting. I know this type of conversation. I know this type of day. So the moment passes. And because very little was encoded, it becomes hard to feel the day later. That is why a routine week can vanish. Not because the clock skipped it, because your brain filed it under same as usual. This is called compression. The more predictable your life becomes, the more your brain can compress it. And compressed time feels fast. A strange vacation can feel longer than a month of normal life. A weekend in a new city can create more memories than 3 weeks of repeating the same schedule. A single difficult conversation can feel larger than a dozen ordinary days. That is because novelty slows down remembered time. Not the clock. Remembered time. There are 2 versions of time you live with. There is the time you experience while it is happening, and there is the time you remember after it is gone. These are not the same. A boring afternoon can feel slow while you are inside it, but disappear quickly when you look back. A meaningful trip can feel fast while you are living it, but feel huge in memory. So when people say life is going faster, they are often talking about remembered time. They look back at the year and feel a hole. They know months passed. They paid bills. They worked. They had conversations. They scrolled through hundreds of hours of content. They kept going. But the year does not feel full. It feels thin. That thinness is terrifying, because it makes you wonder where your life went. There is another reason time feels faster as you age. Each year becomes a smaller piece of your total life. When you are 5, 1 year is enormous. It is 1/5 of everything you have ever known. When you are 50, 1 year is only 1/50th. The year did not shrink on the calendar, but compared to your whole life, it became smaller. This does not explain everything, but it explains part of the feeling. Childhood years are huge because you do not have many years to compare them to. Adult years feel smaller because they sit inside a much larger stack. The brain compares time to the life it already knows. And the older you get, the more each new year has to compete with. But there is an even deeper reason. As you get older, you get better at predicting life. That sounds useful. And it is. You learn how mornings work. You learn how people behave. You learn what a store is, what a bill is, what traffic is, what a job is, what a bad mood is, what a holiday feels like, what a Sunday night means. You no longer need to study every little thing. The brain can guess. Prediction saves energy, but prediction also steals wonder. When the world feels predictable, fewer moments interrupt you. Fewer moments make you stop and look. Fewer moments say, "Pay attention, this is new." And attention is what makes time feel alive. This is why children can stare at an insect for 10 minutes like it is a miracle. They are not being dramatic. Their brain is still building the world. An adult sees a bug. A child sees a creature from another planet. An adult sees rain. A child sees the sky falling into puddles. An adult sees a tree. A child sees a climbable tower full of secret rules. The world did not become less interesting. The adult brain became more efficient at ignoring it. That efficiency is useful, but it has a cost. It can make life feel like a blur. Because what you do not notice, you often do not remember. And what you do not remember can feel like it barely happened. Modern life makes this worse. Your attention is constantly being pulled out of the present. You are in one place, but your mind is in 10 places. You eat while watching something. You walk while listening to something. You wait while scrolling. You rest while checking messages. You lie in bed while the entire internet pours through a glowing rectangle inches from your face. This means many moments never get your full attention. They are lived halfway. Half in the room, half in the screen, half in the body, half in the next thing. And half-attended life often becomes half-remembered life. That is a brutal sentence, but it explains a lot. You can spend an evening with a phone in your hand and later feel like the evening vanished. You were there, but not fully. Your attention was sliced into pieces too small to become memory. This is why scrolling can make time feel strange. While you are scrolling, time disappears because each tiny piece of content pulls you into the next one. But afterward, the memory is often empty. You consumed a lot. You retained little. The brain was stimulated, but not necessarily fed. It was occupied, but not anchored. So the hour is gone, and it leaves almost no shape behind. That is one of the most modern ways time disappears. Not through boredom, through frictionless stimulation. Another reason time feels faster is that adulthood removes clear chapters. Childhood has built-in milestones. New grade, new teacher, new school year, new shoes, new height, new firsts, new rules. The calendar keeps dividing life into visible chapters. Even if you are not trying, your life changes. But adulthood can flatten into one long hallway. Work, bills, emails, errands, responsibilities. The same year wearing a different number. If nothing creates chapters, memory has fewer shelves. Everything blends together. That is why people sometimes remember life by disruption. The year they moved. The year they got sick. The year they fell in love. The year they lost someone. The year they changed jobs. The year everything collapsed. Painful or joyful, these events become markers. They cut the timeline. They say, life was like this before and like this after. Without markers, time becomes smooth, and smooth time is hard to hold. This is why a life can look stable from the outside, but feel like it is slipping away from the inside. Stability is good, but total sameness can become invisible. The brain needs contrast. It needs difference. It needs edges. Without edges, the year becomes a fog. There is also the problem of future speed. When you are young, the future feels huge because most of life is still ahead. There are endless possible selves. You could become anything. You could go anywhere. You could meet anyone. The future is not a schedule yet, it is a field. But as you age, your choices become more real. Some doors open. Some doors close. Some dreams become plans. Some plans become responsibilities. Some responsibilities become routines. And the future can start to feel less like an open world and more like a countdown. This changes how time feels. When you are young, time feels like expansion. When you are older, time can feel like subtraction. Another year gone. Another version of yourself not chosen. Another holiday behind you. Another photo where you look different than you remember. Another sign that life is not waiting. This is why birthdays change. As a child, a birthday feels like arrival. You are becoming more. Older means taller, freer, closer to the mysterious world of adults. But later, birthdays can feel like evidence. Evidence that time is passing. Evidence that plans are still unfinished. Evidence that the person you imagine becoming is still somewhere ahead of you, or maybe somewhere behind you. The number is not the problem. The meaning attached to the number is the problem. And that meaning can make time feel faster because every year arrives with a question. Did I use the last one? That question can hurt, but it can also wake you up. Because time feeling fast is not only a curse, it is a signal. It may be your mind telling you that life has become too automatic, too predicted, too distracted, too compressed, too much of the same emotional weather, too little novelty, too little presence, too few moments where you were actually there. The good news is that you cannot slow the clock, but you can slow remembered time. You can make life feel fuller. Not by doing more, by noticing more. This is the part people get wrong. They think the answer is to fill the calendar. More trips, more goals, more events, more productivity, more experiences to prove that life is being lived. But a packed life can still disappear if you are never present for it. The real answer is not just novelty. It is attention plus novelty. Try a new route. Learn a new skill. Talk to someone without multitasking. Eat without watching a screen. Walk somewhere and actually look at the houses, the trees, the sky, the light on the sidewalk. Make a small ritual. Take a photo, not of yourself performing happiness, but of the tiny thing that made the day different. Write one sentence at night about what happened. Not because every day is special, because memory needs handles. If you give the day a handle, it is easier to hold. You can also slow time by learning. Learning makes the world unfamiliar again. A new instrument, a new language, a new sport, a new field, a new creative tool. At first it feels frustrating because you are bad at it. But that frustration is a sign that the brain is awake. It is no longer compressing everything. It is paying attention. It is building a new map. That is one of the reasons learning can make a season feel bigger. You gave your brain something new to track. You can slow time by changing scale. Look at one day instead of the whole year. Look at 1 hour instead of the whole day. Look at one breath instead of the whole problem. When life feels like it is racing, the mind often lives too far ahead. Next week. Next bill. Next goal. Next version of yourself. Next thing you are supposed to fix. But time only becomes real at close range. This room. This song. This meal. This person. This exact patch of sunlight on the wall. Presence sounds like a soft word, but it is actually a memory strategy. The brain cannot save what you never really entered. You can slow time by making chapters on purpose. Do not wait for life to divide itself. Give the year names. The year I learned guitar. The year I got healthy. The year I rebuilt my friendships. The year I stopped living through my phone. The year I made art again. The year I became quiet enough to hear myself. A named chapter gives the brain a frame. It tells your memory, This season had a shape, and shaped time is harder to lose. You can slow time by paying attention to endings. Most people move through endings too quickly. The end of a weekend, the end of a conversation, the end of summer, the end of a home, the end of a version of yourself. They rush into the next thing because endings feel uncomfortable. But endings are memory anchors. If you notice them, they mark the timeline. If you ignore them, life slides from one thing to another without edges. Sometimes slowing time is as simple as saying, "This will not happen this exact way again." That sentence can make ordinary things glow. Not because they are dramatic, because they are temporary. That is the hidden truth of time. It feels fast when you forget that it is made of unrepeatable moments. Even the boring ones. Even the quiet ones. Even the ones you are tempted to rush through. There will be a last time you walk into a certain room. A last time you hear a certain voice. A last time a song belongs to this exact season of your life. A last time your daily routine looks the way it looks now. You usually do not know it is the last time. That is why attention matters. Attention is how you respect moments before they become memories. Time feels faster as you get older because your brain has seen more. It predicts more. It compresses more. It ignores more. It has fewer firsts unless you create them. It has more routines unless you interrupt them. It has more responsibilities pulling you out of the present. And it has more past behind it, making each new year feel smaller by comparison. But you are not helpless. You can give your life more texture. You can stop handing every empty second to a screen. You can make new memories on purpose. You can build small rituals. You can learn something badly. You can take different roads. You can listen more closely. You can let ordinary days have a shape. You can notice the moment while it is still happening, instead of only mourning it after it is gone. You cannot make time stop, but you can make it less empty when you look back. And maybe that is what people really want. Not a longer life in years. A life that feels lived while it is happening. A life with enough newness to stay awake. Enough attention to become memory. Enough meaning that the months do not vanish without leaving a trace. Because childhood did not feel long only because you were young. It felt long because you were learning the world. Everything was strange. Everything was closer. Everything asked you to look. The world has not stopped asking. You have just gotten better at walking past it. So if life feels like it is speeding up, maybe the question is not how do I stop time? Maybe the question is, what have I stopped noticing? Because the clock will keep moving. The years will keep turning. The birthdays will keep arriving. But a moment fully noticed does something strange. It expands. It leaves a mark. It becomes part of the story instead of disappearing into the blur. And that is how you fight the speed of life. Not by chasing time, by entering it.